احنا المفروض دول كلهم نحل فيهم ايكويشنز. التارجت بتاعنا في كل الايكويشنز ان احنا نخلي الليترز مع بعض في ناحيه والنمبرز مع بعض في ناحيه ثانيه. احنا combine like terms بالظبط. فاحنا في الكيس دي احنا عندنا 33 عايز اودي وخليك بس معايا ثانيه واحده، اودي النيجاتيف ايه الناحيه دي واودي ال 27 الناحيه الثانيه. فلما ال 27 تيجي الناحيه الثانيه هتروح بالنيجاتيف، وبعدين بحط الحاجات اللي مكتوبه الاول اللي ما اتحركتش بكتبها الاول. يعني هكتب ال A والماينس 5A الاول وبعد كده هودي البوزيتيف A في الاخر خالص. 33 minus 27 دي كده 6 وبعدين A plus A ادي 2A وماينس 5A يبقى minus 3A وبعدين negative 3 goes to the other side so the A would be equals to negative 2. So I have the A equals to negative 2. هو عايز the value of 33 plus 3A.
So هعمل A minus 2 ازاي هي 6 equals 3A.
Exactly. So negative went to the other side as negative 3. Well, division only, sorry. So then once we calculate this would be 33 minus 9. يعني it would become 24. That's the correct answer.
هو ينفع تعيد بعد negative 2 how did you get like 33 plus 3?
So they need me to find 33 plus 3A. So I took the value of A and I substituted. Instead of the A, I opened the bracket and I substituted the negative 3.
But the value of A is negative 2, صح؟
Sorry, صح. You're right. I'm sorry. It's negative 2. So this would become 27 in this case.
Okay.
So that's 33 minus 6, which is the 27. Are we good? Very well done. Let's check اللي بعدها, number 3. It says half x plus 3 equals to 3 over 4 minus x. Again, the same thing is happening. هودي negative x. So exactly half x and then plus x and then equals to 3 over 4 that did not move. I'll write it first and then I'll move the positive 3 to the other side as negative 3.
هو ايه اللي هيحصل لو احنا not write الرقم اللي we moved first?
I'm just worried that at sometimes whenever we're solving we may get confused شوية in the sign, we may forget to change the signs and so on. So that's how we make sure we're always using the same sign in the correct one. So half plus x, that's 3 over 2x equals to 3 over 4 minus 3 on a calculator. That is negative 9 over 12. Then the 3 over 2 would go to the other side. بالراحة كده 3 over 2 times x. فتروح الناحية التانية بالdivision. فهعمل on a calculator negative 9 over 12 divided by 3 over 2. This would give me the x value as negative 3 over 6, negative half. I think, I'm not sure. Can you calculate that, please?
Negative 1 over 2, صح.
Okay. طيب, getting a bit harder whenever there are brackets. لما بيكون في brackets plus بعض ممكن نشيل البراكتس خالص. بس لما يكون في minus بالظبط. So in this case انا عندي النيجاتيف دي قبل البراكت ده, دي هتخش تغير الساينز. بس البلس دي مش كل اللي هعمله ان انا هشيل بس البراكتس وخلاص. فيبقى عندي x وبعدين minus 3 and then plus 2x plus 4 and then the minus 5x equals the negative 7. Now like terms together. بعدين negative 3 plus 4, that's positive 1 equals to negative x. I'll move the positive 1 to the other side. So that's negative 8. The negative 2 would go to the other side by division. صح؟ في أي مشاكل؟
خلاص.
Word problems بقى دول بالنسبة لي are the most important. If 3 quarters of a number. يعني إيه 3 quarters of a number?
1 over 3?
3 over 4, yes. 3 quarters يعني 3 أرباع. So 3 1 over 4s. Of a number يعني 3 over 4 of a number معرفوش. So I'll just put x. Decreased by 20, so minus 20.
20.
is equals to, so it's equal
82.
82, so that's the equation. And
One
I'm sorry.
terms هناك plus 20, so 82 plus 20.
I will have
3 over 4 هيروح هناك مع 20.
هيبقى 136.
So if we're not doing this with a calculator, أو if we want to know the exact steps برضو ممكن نعملها. بدل ما أودي 3 over 4 to the other side entirely by division, I could move the 4 first by multiplication, and it becomes 4 times 102, which means that 3x will be equals to 408, and then move the 3 to the other side by division. So that would be 408 divided by 3, which would give me كام؟
136.
احنا نسينا خالص ان في قصة الماث طلعت calculator في SAT.
So with a calculator, it should be easily done. But without a calculator, we should be just moving the numbers, or we should at least know how does the things move to the other side step by step. If we move to number 6, 2 and 3/5. 2 and 3/5.
3 over 5.
Yes, so this is a mixed number. 2, 3 over 5.
Just do 5 times 2 plus 3.
Exactly. But so let's work it out as if we have a calculator. 2, 3 over 5 of a number, يعني 2, 3 over 5x equals negative 26. طيب, how do I write this on a calculator?
I know. You know you see.
So we click on shift and then the button that says SD.
Shift بعدين
SD. You see, now you're trying this out, shift and then the button that says SD.
Oh, shift SD, okay.
It will.
مفيش SD عندي.
لا, there is.
SD هو فوق التجميد.
You see, yes, exactly. It's right here.
S with D, okay.
So shift SD would get you 3 spaces to write numbers in. We were going to write the 2, the 3, and the 5. Again, shift and then SD.
لما بقول shift SD مش بيحصل حاجة.
ولا عندي.
Baby, so look at the calculator right now, okay? With me. You just have to click on shift. Here's the one, and then here's the SD, and that is the thing that pops up. It's like 3 spaces for you to write numbers.
It didn't pop up for me neither. I did press shift SD.
Okay, so then click on shift. Look at my calculator first. Shift, and then the button that says A over B.
لا ما انا قلت 3 سبيسز تكتب في ده انا قلت مش شفت قصدي في نوع الكالكوليتر ده هو شفت وتحت حاجه.
Which is A over B, the one that I just said. A over B, the button that says A/B. Anyway, so you're just going to write on shift and then A/B. ياسين انت فاهم انا بقول ايه ولا لا؟
ايه؟
ياسين والنبي يا حبيبي ركز معايا قوي، ما تعديش حاجه وانت سامع صوتي وخلاص. So shift plus A over B. Do you understand how do you write this one out? وطلعت لك ال 3 spaces. So write those numbers 2, 3 over 5. Okay, now أنا لو عايز أmove ال 2, 3 over 5 دي مش دي times ال x, it goes to the other side by A.
Divided by negative 26.
So the negative 26, this is the one that's divided by 2, 3 over 5. We say it this way, the negative 26 is the number that's divided by 2, 3 over 5. Or 2, 3 over 5. What was the answer then?
Negative 1 over 2, negative 1 over 2.
Impossible.
Let me try that way.
لا معلش ياسين, rewrite it يا حبيبي exactly as I write it right now here, right there. لا معلش, do it again.
negative 10.
Yasin, did you do it?
حامل اثنين
It's negative 10 صح. Okay.
Yasin, this is taking too much time. This doesn't make any sense. Yasin, this doesn't make any sense. Focus. Focus. Use your calculator right now, right? Yasin, listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen. Just listen, Habibi. Just listen. Clear your calculator right now.
Here, okay.
Write negative 26.
Negative 26.
Click on the button that says A over B. You can't find it?
Shift A over B, Yasin.
لا 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 Yasin, focus and stay with me. Tell me something.
Over B الزرار اللي بيطلع 3 spaces والزرار مختلف تاني مكتوب fraction مع
Yasin, حبيبي يا بابا, you're not listening to me. Just listen to me. Just go calm down and listen to me. Just stop talking, please. I'll tell you a few things to do. If you don't know what I'm telling you to do, just ask. Don't stay quiet looking for it. Okay? So I'll tell you a few things to do. Listen very carefully. Click on negative 26. There's a button right under the shift. There's one that says calc, and then there's another one right under that says A/B. That means it's A over B. Did you find that?
It doesn't say A/B.
What does it say, Yasin?
It just says button.
What does it say, Yasin? What does it say? What does it say?
Boxes.
Box over box? Box over box?
Oh.
Okay, that's the one. Click on that.
Okay, got that.
Then shift the same button.
Okay.
Write the 2 3 over 5.
So مش شغال على كتبت negative 26 بعدين شفت زرار.
No, that's not what I said. I said negative 26 and then الزرار and then shift the زرار again.
Negative 26. Shift زرار. Okay. So.
Yasin, tell me what's happening, Yasin. Don't tell me ثانية. Tell me exactly what's happening.
calculator ظهر لي بس 3000 والله ما عملت حاجة.
حبيبي, there's nothing. I'm telling you أنا ما بتهمكش بتهمة يا ياسين. So just calm down. حبيبي أنا ما اتهمتكش بحاجة. So just calm down again. Listen to me بس carefully كده and step by step. Let's do this again. معلش. So there is nothing that if you did exactly what I'm telling you to do, there's nothing that you can have that's different than what I have. It's impossible. Okay? Clear your calculator one more time. Write negative 26. Box over box.
Okay.
Shift box over box.
Okay.
2. And then move with the arrows to the right.
Right?
Yes. And then write 3.
Listen. 3.
Move with the arrows down. Write 5.
خليني move down مش عارف ليه.
لا طب show me what you have.
ده الأقصى.
طب حبيبي ما انت كتبتها يا حبيبي. هو negative 26 over 2 3 over 5.
This equal?
This equal.
Negative 10.
That's the answer. I don't know. That's the answer. I don't know how else. Did you have anything? This is the answer. خلاص, that's it. That's correct. I don't know how else did you get any other answer before that. So I don't know how else did you write it down. That's what I'm talking about. There is no other way to write this down. Okay? So make sure you're following it exactly the same way. Do you understand the box over box, what does it do? And do you understand the shift box over box, what does it do?
Yeah.
What's the difference between them?
بوكس اوفر بوكس ده فراكشن عادي والبوكس على الشمال مع بوكسين فوق بعض ده بقى الشمال ده بيكون whole number وفراكشن عادي.
So the whole thing is called a mixed number, right? Okay, perfect. Now let's move to the next one. There are 142 students in a high school band. 142 students in a high school band. These students represent, يعني they are equal to 2/9, يعني 2/9 of the total students in high school. The number that I don't know, which is X. Do you see how I just translated this sentence over there? These students, which are the 142, represents يعني equal 2/9, which is 2/9, the of يعني times the total number of students that I don't know, which is an X. How many students attended the school? All what you need to do is to move the 2/9 to the other side by division. So 142 divided 2/9. And it got you, I'm sorry again, 639. That's very well done, yeah, Yasin. Good. Makes sense? Moving to number 8. This is a word problem, a very important word problem. Yes.
كانوا كاتبين فوق the amount of students already صح؟ مش like 142 students in high school فبعدين كتبوا students تاني in high school اللي حطيناها X.
No, there are 142 students in a high school band.
Oh, okay.
They want to know how many students attend the school generally. So 2/9 of that number attend the band, and the overall students is 630. Let's check it out. So this is a very important type of question that comes كتير قوي في SAT, where there is something called a mathematical equation or a mathematical expression, where there are letters there. It's very important to understand what do we do with this whole expression or this whole equation, and what does every letter represent. These are the most important things for you to figure out. Now, once we start reading this, it says there's a snack of C cups of cashews and R cups of raisins. So the C is the cups of cashews and the R is cups of raisins. The amount of calories per cup of cashews is 820, and that's why they multiplied 820 by C, which is the number of cashews. The amount of calories per cup of raisins, 380, so that's why they multiplied 380 by the number of raisins. According to the equation, how many cups of raisins are used if 3 cups of cashews are used to make a snack? So apparently this 3 goes for the cashews. يعني this 3 is the C.
هنعمل plus 3C تاني.
No, not plus 3C. The 3 is the C itself. The C is the number of cups of cashews. Then they said 3 cups of cashews. Yes, exactly. C cups of cashews, 3 cups of cashews. So this means that the C is now equals to 3. So you'll just substitute 3 instead of the C.
20 times 3 plus 380 is equal to 4,360.
So now I'll need to calculate 820 times 3. 2,460 plus 380R equals 4,360. I'll need to move this to the other side.
To be 1,100.
Again? Would you tell me again what's the answer? 4,360 minus 2,460? 1,000. And then I'll move the 380 to the other side. So then R will be equal to. So that's true. 5 is the correct answer. Makes sense, huh? Type number 5. This is a pretty a harder شوية one than the rest. It says the sum of 4 consecutive odd integers. This is a very important word, the word consecutive. What does the word consecutive mean?
After each other
Yes, after each other. طيب what does that برضو mean? It means إنه for example 1 2 3 4 these are consecutive numbers. If I
Yes.
said
They
consecutive,
need to be odd.
no, but generally these are called consecutive. Consecutive odd are the 1 3 5
3,
7
5.
9. Consecutive even 2 4 6 8. Consecutive multiples of 5 5 10 15. So the word consecutive means that they have constant difference between them. They have نفس الفرق ما بين كل رقم والتاني. When they say consecutive odd integers, then they're talking about somehow examples like these 1 3 5 7 and so on. But I don't know where do they start. Did they start from 1? Did they start from 7? Did they start from
They start from a
79?
huge number, because it's 196.
Good. So how do I represent numbers that I don't know that are supposed to be consecutive and odd? So here's how I think about it. I'll say if the first number is x, then how do I find the next odd number after x? Let me re-ask you this question in a different way. If this first number is x, so for example, how do I get from 3 to the next odd number, 5? What do I do? What are the calculations that happen to get
You
from
either
3?
count down يعني لو هي انت عندك 3.
How do I get to 5?
7 you count.
Exactly what did I do? So what do I do to the 5 in terms of math? Am I adding? Am I subtracting? Am I multiplying? How?
No, you're adding.
What? Adding how much exactly to get from 5 to 7, or from 7 to 9, or from 1 to 3?
You're adding by 2.
We're adding how much?
By 2.
2. So if the first number is x, how do I get the next odd number if I just added to the x2? صح؟
Okay.
So لو أول رقم odd is x اللي بعده x plus 2. طب اللي بعده x plus كام؟ 2 برضه؟ أيوه لأنه again how do I get من 1 ل 3؟ هعمل plus 2. طب how do I get من 1 ل 5؟ هعمل plus 4. So now it's x plus 4. And then if I need one more number, it will become x plus 6. So these represent consecutive odd integers, correct? So whenever they say consecutive odd or consecutive even, then we know that if the first one is x, the second one is x plus 2, the third is x plus 4. Odd or even will be represented exactly the same way, because the difference between the first even number and the next one is 2.
It's always 2.
And from 4 to 6, it's another 2. And from 6 to 8, it's another 2. So whether we're talking about odd numbers or even numbers, we always represent them by x, x plus 2, x plus 4, x plus 6. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yasin?
Yes, yes.
No questions whatsoever?
No question.
No confusions at all?
No question.
Perfect. So the sum of the 4 consecutive odd integers. Here are now 4 consecutive odd integers that I don't know. X and x plus 2 and x plus 4 and x plus 6. But they said the sum. So I'll add them up. This plus this plus this is
Combine like terms.
يعني equal. So I'll say equal. Equals what? 296. So 296. I have an equation now. I can solve the equation.
And 2 with 4 with 6 هنروح ناخد بالنيجاتيف.
Oh, first let's add the like terms. The x plus x plus x plus x. And then the 2 plus 4 plus 6 is
296 minus 12 هيبقى 284.
284 divided by 4 divided by 4.
and then divide that by 4, so that's
71. X equals 71.
71. Type, what is x? Is it the answer?
It's the odd integers.
It's the first odd integer because I used x to represent the first odd integer. If I needed to find the biggest, it would become the x plus 6. Is that correct?
So you substitute 71 plus 6.
So 71 plus 6, and that's 77. This is the greatest out of those 4 odd integers. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so this is a very important question. These are the types of questions that you'll actually see in the real test. There are things that we have to remember, like the word consecutive, what does it mean? And whenever we see consecutive, this is exactly how we represent them. X plus 2, x plus 4, as long as they're odd or even. If they're not odd and if they're not even, if they just said consecutive, then it would be x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3, x plus 4, and so on. Remember that we always try to find somehow an equation or to write an equation, because the equation is simply a very easy something for us to solve. We're just following steps until we get a final answer. Any questions? Perfect. So let's now discuss the quadratic functions.
Okay. We're going to do the homework?
And a bit more. So please focus, عشان this is extremely important, and I'll probably be covering things that you took in school and more. And try as much as possible to understand rather than memorize, and try not to link for the time being by what you've taken in school. Just try to understand what I'm talking about as a whole together as a big story, and then later on we can link it to school and you'll see how this is exactly what you took in school but in other ways. Okay? Type. So we said earlier that the quadratic functions are any functions that has y and it has x to the power of 2.
2.
As long as x is to the power of 2, then this is called the quadratic function. And as long as x is to the power of 2, the graph of this function will look like a u that's either looking up or looking down. If the u is looking up, then the entire parabola is considered positive. And if the u is looking down, the entire parabola is negative. Any parabola in the entire world has a very important point, which is the peak of the parabola. These points right here. These points are called the vertex. The plural of them is called vertices. The vertex is one vertex. So the vertex is basically a point that has x and y coordinates. It has x coordinate and a y coordinate because it's a point. The vertex is extremely important because the x of the vertex represent what we call the axis of symmetry. It is the point where we can graph a horizontal line that splits the parabola into two equal parts. This is what we call the axis of symmetry. An imaginary line that splits the graph into two equal parts. All of our faces, for example, are supposed to be symmetrical. There's this imaginary line that has this side exactly similar to the other side. Anyway, on the other hand, the y coordinate is what we call, it's either the minimum or the maximum, depending on something else, not depending on itself. يعني مش فارق معايا ال y دي is it positive 100, is it negative 300, it doesn't matter what's its value. What decides whether it's maximum or minimum is the shape of the graph. So if it's looking upwards, then it is called minimum, and if it's looking downwards, then it's called a maximum value. طيب, what are the equations of the quadratic function? There are three important forms of equations. We are going to discuss two of them, okay? Please make sure that you understand them all together as a whole, okay? The first type of equation is called the standard form. It's how we write it down. We write it بالشكل of the standard form. What is the standard form? It is ax to the power of 2 plus bx plus c equals 0. فعلا ده الشكل الطبيعي اللي هو مترتبين من الاكس اكبر باور لاصغر باور للاكس. This is what we call الشكل الطبيعي. So this form doesn't really show me anything. It shows only one simple thing called the y-intercept. يعني only in the standard form, this number here, the c, is what we consider the y-intercept. So it is the point where the graph intersects the y-axis, this point here. Okay. But it shows nothing else. If I needed to get anything else out of that equation, then I'll have to do some calculations. So, for example, if I needed to find out the vertex out of this form, I'll have to do a few calculations. And the first one is the negative b over 2a. This would get me the axis of symmetry, which is the x of the vertex. So once I get the x of the vertex, if I need to find the y, you just need to substitute, which we call f of negative b over 2a. And let's discuss an example. So let's say x squared minus 6x plus 8. All of this is equals to 0. If I needed to find the vertex, I'll do negative b, which is negative 6, over 2a, which is 1. Without the x, just the a, b, and c are the numbers next to the x's, over 2, and that would be 3. This 3 is the x of the vertex, which means if I needed to write the vertex now, it's the 3 on the x. Now, how do I find the y? I'll find f of 3. Yani I'll substitute this 3 that I got into the equation itself. Here's 3 to the power of 2 minus 6 times 3 plus 8, and the answer here would be negative 1. So
why are you repeating these things again?
معلش, عشان I want to link them to the next. So just bear with me for a second, okay? طيب, once I already خلاص got the vertex, we said that this is the axis of symmetry. So if I was asked to find the axis of symmetry, all what I need to do is write it down as x equals x بتاعت الvertex اللي هي 3. This is the equation of axis of symmetry. Does that make sense?
Yep.
طيب, if I needed to know what is the minimum or maximum value, I'll go and take the y and I'll say y is equals to the y of the vertex اللي هي negative 1. طب how do I decide whether it's minimum or maximum? Based on the a. So I'll check the a. The a, if it's positive, if it's bigger than 0, then the parabola is looking up, then it's minimum. If the a is less than 0, then the parabola is looking down, then it is maximum. So when I check this example, a here is positive, which means that the parabola is looking up, which means that this y is minimum.
Minimum.
Any questions? Any simple tiny confusions? ياسين اسأل. لا اسأل.
ما عنديش أسئلة.
متأكد؟ طيب, what else do we need to understand? في حاجة كمان. How to graph. So in order to graph, there's a quick way and there's a long way. In order to graph, I can create this entire long table where I would get at least 5 points and use those points to graph. And there's another method where I'll get طبعا. So again, there are two methods. Method A is by getting 5 points. Method B is by using the y-intercept along with the vertex, along with the x-intercepts. And we haven't discussed this one yet. So let's discuss the one with the table. I'm sorry?
We did discuss the table.
I mean, we haven't discussed this one, the one with the x-intercepts yet. Okay? طيب, how do we do this one? The first thing we do is we find the vertex, and we already got the vertex here as 3 and negative 1. That's the first thing. So what we're going to do is write the 3 in the middle and the negative 1 for the y on the other side, in the middle. Okay? And we're going to write 2 numbers after the 3 and 2 numbers before the 3. So after the 3 there's 4 and there's 5, and before the 3 there's 2 and there's 1. Now what we're supposed to do is to substitute the x into the equation here and find the value of y, like by putting 1 power 2 minus 6 times 1 plus 8 and getting the answer and writing it here. But instead, we learned that we can use the calculator now and go for mode and then the one that says table, which will get you f of x equals, and you're going to write the entire equation, x squared minus 6x plus 8. In order to do that, you just have to click on alpha, close bracket, which will get you the x, power 2.
Alpha بعدها close bracket.
Yes, this will write the x for you.
minus 6x.
Minus 6, and again write the bracket using the same method.
squared ولا لا؟
Yes, حط it squared. Write it exactly as it is.
That's x squared minus 6 x plus 8. And those equal?
Yes.
1. What to say?
No, what does it say up? مش 1 وخلاص. What does it say up?
It says 1 and start.
So start. Where do you want it to start? Where do you want the x's to start?
From 1.
So yes, you then click equal. If you wanted anything else, you would have write it down.
1 equal and
And it ends at 5.
It ends at 5 exactly. And the step is 1. 1, because from one point to this one, every one of those is moving 1.
Okay, economy.
A table
Yes.
with all the values.
Not the answers. يعني لما put 1 x1 f of x3.
That's a point. 1 and 3.
Okay, so okay, f of x. Okay, and then
2 and 0, 3 and negative 1, which is the vertex, and then 4, 0, 5 and 3.
And 5 and 3, yes.
So I'll go on an XY axis, right there. Look at my screen now. Look at my screen now. I'll start with the vertex. The vertex is right here, the 3 and the negative 1. So I'll go for 3 on the x, negative 1 on the y. Here's the first point, that's the vertex. I'll then move to 1 and 3, 1 on the x, 3 on the y. 2 and 0, 2 on the x, 0 on the y. 4 and 0 is right there. 5 and 3 is right there. And you have your parabola right there. Does that make sense?
yes.
Type, what is this other method then? So using the exact same method, x squared minus 6x, sorry, the exact same equation, plus 8 equals to 0. What is the y-intercept? The first thing you find here is the y-intercept. What's the y-intercept? Again?
Negative 1.
No.
8.
Yep.
It's 8. In the equation.
Yep. Yep. No, because the y-coordinate is something, and the y-intercept is something else. The y-coordinate is just the y of any point. The y-intercept is the y where x is equal 0. It's the point where the graph intersects with the x-axis, with the y-axis. Sorry. So I found the first thing, the y-intercept. The second thing is the vertex. I already got the vertex as 3 and negative 1.
Negative 1.
The last thing is the x-intercepts. How do I find the x-intercepts?
It's the y symmetry.
No.
Axis.
No.
It's the same.
No. Here's a bit tricky.
X-intercept, not x-coordinate.
Yep, not the x-coordinate, x-intercepts. How do I find the x-intercepts? There are two methods. One is the calculator, mode 5-3.
What?
Mode 5-3.
Which got you something that looks like this, right?
ABC. Yeah.
Okay. So what you're going to do is the following. You're going to write the a and the b and the c of the function. What's the a, b, and c?
The a is x squared.
No, the a is
6.
no. Wait, the a is
What?
what's the value of a?
Oh, 1.
1, not x. Just the 1.
Okay, and then how can we go to b?
Equal.
B
Negative
This
6.
one بعدها equal.
Yes.
B negative 6 صح؟
Yes.
Negative 6.
And then equal again.
C is 8.
8. Equal.
Equal.
equal تاني.
No, the first equal got you x1 equals what?
4 و x2 equals 2.
Click again, equal, it will give you x2, which is 2. So these are the x-intercepts.
الله حلو قوي طريقته بتعرف
صايعة.
ايوه.
So we got now the three things that are important: the y-intercept, the vertex, the x-intercepts. How do we graph? The same exact method. X-y axis.
Okay, I thought we were gonna do the slope and then
No. Slope is linear.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll start with the y-intercept. Where is the y-intercept? Positive 8. So I'll go up at positive 8. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So here's just wait. Here's the point now. Okay. Y-intercept. I started with the y-intercept. Then 3 and negative 1. So I'll go for the x-axis 3 and negative 1. Here's the vertex. Then the x-intercepts. The x-intercept is at x equals 4 and x equals 2. So I'll go at x equals 2 and put a point. And at x equals 4 and put another point. And connect those with each other, and you'll still have the parabola, the exact same parabola.
If I use the other two methods, what is this one? This one's a bit confusing.
No. We need to know both of them. And not just because of the school, it's because they're exactly the same thing. It's just that you're using different points. One method you're using 5 points that you've created. The other method is that you're using 5 points that were given somehow in an indirect way, which are the y-intercept, the two x-intercepts, and the vertex. So it's exactly the same method, it's just different points, that's all. And if you noticed, by the way, the point at x equals 4 is this point here, 4 and 0. The point at x equals 2 is this point there, 2 and 0.
Why wasn't it طب وبالنسبة لل1 وال8 ال1 والنيجاتيف 6
the 1, negative 6 and the 8, these are the A, B, and C.
Okay, so like for example x is 4, 2 is the x is 1.
Yes.
آخر رقم بقى ايه هو؟
No آخر رقم. هم بس دول الاثنين كل واحدة منهم is a point. It's the x-intercept. So the y's بتاعتهم بزيرو. Okay? 1 for the vertex. This is it. This is the vertex. These two are the x-intercepts.
Okay.
And this one is the y-intercept. Okay. Where did that come from? I get. طيب. The ones that you sent me are exactly the same. They're just asking you to find any and everything you can. Like, try to identify all the key features. The key features are those things we've identified. The vertex is the most important thing, then the axis of symmetry, then the minimum or the maximum, and then the x-intercepts, and the y-intercept. So the exact same thing we've identified. Let's look at the one that you sent, and the first example there was that f of x equals to 2x squared minus 4x plus 1. And you already have the graph put right there for you.
Upwards, it's minimum or maximum.
So, but here's the thing: they want you to determine algebraically the main features and then highlight them on the graph. So we need to be able to find everything using algebra and then put them points on the graph. Because both are important. Because if you're given the graph, you need to be able to figure out the things, and if you're not given the graph, you still need to be able to figure out the things. Yep. So برضه نرتب مخنا. اسهل حاجه واهم حاجه نطلعها هي الفيرتكس. So دايما هبتدي بالفيرتكس، وعشان دي فيرتكس
-4 over
negative 4 yes over 2 times 2, which is 1. Yes. So I'll take this one, I'll put it in the x coordinate. How do I find the y? By substituting. Yep. So this is -2 plus 1, -1. So I got the y. I'll put the y over there. Here's the -1. So I have now the vertex. ماشي؟ بليز ركزوا معايا قوي نرتب ازاي. second step هكتب ان الاكسس of symmetry
is equal to -1.
no هكتب x equals 1. لازم اكتب x equals 1. The third thing is whether it's minimum or maximum.
It's minimum because the graph is concaved upwards.
Because the a as well is positive, so this is minimum. So because a is 2, which means a is positive, then the graph looks up, then it's minimum. And I'll write that it's y equals -1. This is there. Type, I identified the key feature. What else? What's the fourth? The y-intercept. The y-intercept is at 1. Exactly. So I'll go at the graph that's already graphed for me right there. And I'll highlight everything. I'll get the point that's here, and I'll say that this is the vertex, and I'll write the point, the coordinates of it, 1 and -1. This is yes. This is highlighting this. Now the second thing, I'll highlight where the graph intersects the y-axis, and I'll write that this is the y-intercept, and I'll write that it is at y equals 1. Sorry, y equals just 1. Now I'll also write, I'll put a dotted line at the vertex, a vertical dotted line to represent the axis of symmetry. وهكتب عند ال dotted line نفسه x equals 1 اللي هو ال axis of symmetry.
هي 1.0 هي 1 صح؟
Yes طبعا. That's it. This is me highlighting everything on the graph. The y-intercept, the vertex, the axis of symmetry. Vertex is right there, y-intercept is right there, and the axis of symmetry was the dotted one in the middle, which is this one, and I wrote it as x equals 1. Any questions?
No.
ياسين انت سرحت خلاص، بقالك شويه فاصل. ايوه بس فاصل كده بقالك شويه. طيب في حاجه اخيره. Can you guys figure out what are the x-intercepts for this one?
I can just make them x-intercept. It can be before 1. We can just say.
Can I get the exact values of the x-intercepts using algebra?
I don't know if we can get a same like exact. Depends on the points each one of us.
Mode 5.3, the one that we just learned, gives us the x-intercepts. We just learned that here. We said that the x-intercepts are found using mode 5.3. So mode 5.3 would get us the exact x-intercepts. Those are the x-intercepts.
X1 is 2 plus square root 2 over 2.
What? No, you didn't write it as -4. You wrote +4 in the B.
Maybe, wait.
So
I wrote -4. It's written -4.
2 and then equal and then -4 and then equal and then 1 and then equal. It would give you x1 equals 0.29.
x1 equal 2 plus square root 2 over 2.
Okay.
No, I wrote -4.
SD.
What?
Click on
6781.
حبايبي لما الانسر تطلع بفورم مش ديسيمال، تطلع لي فيها روت وفراكشنز او كده، لما بدوس على اس دي في اي وقت بيقلبها لي الديسيمال. سو انا طلعت 0.29 ارقام كتير و1.70 ارقام كتير اللي هم انا كاتبهم اهم، صح ولا في مختلفين؟ ايوه well
هو
done.
الاكس انترسبت هي بس الارقام اللي احنا جبناها في التيبل اللي فوق.
لا ما لا لان احنا دي ما عملنالهاش تيبل اصلا. again احنا هنا we were given the function
ايوه I know yeah.
we were given the graph واحنا بنطلع منها الديتيلز بس من الفانكشن. فمن الفانكشن دي احنا طلعنا 1 2 3 4 5 givens وبعدين علمنا عليهم على الجراف.
لا انا قصدي can you go up can you scroll up.
ايوه انت بتتكلمي على الاوبشن ده اللي هو those are the same thing. بالصدفه هنا because this is الاكس انترسبت بتوعها integers.
طب وال 1 2 3 4 5 دي الاكس انترسبت.
No only the 2 and the 4 because these are the ones that has y equals 0.
0 yes.
هم دول الاكس انترسبت. الباقي مش اكس انترسبت، الباقي are just x coordinates names.
ما يعني هو المش هيعمل ايه في حياتنا غير ما يدينا
حرام عليكي بجد، حرام. يعني السبجكت الوحيده اللي النيمز بتاعتها مش يعني بيولوجي يعني ما بيلخبطش قدام.
لا let me tell you انه my favorite subject is math بس ساعات بيستفزني.
ماشي اوكي that's good. طيب
طول حياتي
طول حياتك يا نهار اسود.
بيجي يقول لي حل لي مشكلتي مش فاهمه مشاكل ما بتخلصش.
طب ما انتوا بتقولوا للناس كلها حلوا لي مشاكلي
بس لو مشاكل ما بتخلصش
وانتوا مشاكلكم بتخلص. طيب
احنا مشاكلنا بتتحل في دقيقه. مشاكل عايزه قاعده بقى عايزه
صح.
قاعده.
عايزه حوار كده. واحد فين.
ونظام دبي نفس نظامنا.
ايه؟
لا تعيش في دبي. وانت دي اصلا move to Egypt.
I spent in Dubai 4 years and then to be honest I wasn't the happiest يعني when
حاجات هناك غالية صح؟
no it's not like that at all. بعدين Egypt is much worse عامة. لا طبعا it's just because it's just because أنا I couldn't make any community in Dubai. Like it was all about work. Everything is work. There's nothing else you're doing. So you couldn't make friends, you couldn't have family, and I started feeling lonely على طول. I had my wife with me. Khayr. So once we got our baby بقى, once I got a little girl, I felt إن إحنا we're not even spending any time with her خالص. We were working all day long. We just see her like a couple of hours per day. And she'll live out her life without knowing her grandparents and so on. So I felt إنه خلاص let's take her back home. At least she'll grow socially okay at the beginning. And if we wanted to go back, it's okay. So we actually did that. Like I got here when she was like 6 months old or some 7. No, she was less than 10 months old.
I lived my entire life here. I never went.
So for you, it seems like this is home.
Well, no, it's so boring. It's so hot. There's no physical activity. صراحة بس.
And by the way, Egypt feels good to you because it's a break, because it's a vacation. But once you're living here, it's exactly the same feeling. And after a while, you'll have the same exact things. So and that's why people, you're saying the same thing about Dubai. You think it's interesting, but once you're living there, it's not. Once I went there, it's not.
أنا صراحة جالي عمري كل الدول العربية صراحة مميزة.
إيه يا ياسين؟
أنا شايف دبي مش كمكان كشغل، مكان كده تنزل تروح.
أيوة
خروجة.
الناس بتروح دبي كمصيف. الجو هناك مولع أساسا. مصيف اللي يروح إحنا هنا بنولع.
مش كمصيف هوليوود.
Yeah I know بس what هناك رعد وبرق مثلا يقولوا أو مثلا يقولوا البحر حلو.
وفي بيراميد في أبو ظبي في.
I know.
I can literally go to Europe or anywhere else and see them.
يلا تعال تختار
Give me 1 second معلش.
Do this.
Yes, are you going to remove your braces?
خلعته هناك.
خلعته؟ أو الدكتور اللي خلعنا ولا أنت خلعته؟
لا
رايح ليه تاني؟ I'm still gonna get them.
سوري يا حبايبي.
Is it hurtful يا ياسين؟
خلص طب أحيانا
I don't like it. I just want to get a bath.
يلا نحل حاجات.
ده الواجب؟
لا 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 خلاص نفهم. طيب ماشي، عايز اقول لكم بقى على حاجه كمان. احنا اتكلمنا على الاكس انترسبت صح؟
طبعا.
طيب الاكس انترسبت دول اللي هو لو احنا بنتكلم على اكس واي اكسس على جراف كده، these are the x intercepts. ممكن ساعات لما اجي نرسم اكس واي اكسس، ايه ده؟ alright. يلا بينا. ساعات بقول ان ممكن ارسم الاكس واي اكس او الجراف ولا ايه، ويبقى just touching كده الاكس اكسس مره واحده بس. وساعات تانية ممكن ارسم الاكس واي اكسس ويبقى الجراف اصلا بادئ من فوق هنا كده، ف it doesn't touch the x axis خالص، صح؟ So there are three possibilities ان يكون عندي 2 x intercepts او 1 x intercept او no x intercept، صح؟ The x intercepts دول ليهم اسامي كتير تانية، يعني ليهم names بس مختلفة. They're called x intercepts. They're also called zeros. They're also called roots. Solutions. X value. They're all the same thing. Okay. So for example, but in this case now, this has 2 real roots. يعني it has 2 x intercepts. This has 1 real root. يعني 1 x intercept, and this has no real roots because it has imaginary roots that we will discuss later. So again, this one, it has 2 real roots. These are the 2 x intercepts. This one has 1 real root, which is this x intercept. This one has no real roots, but it has imaginary roots. And we'll discuss them later. Type. Every other type of graph or polynomials, there are others other than the quadratic. There could be a graph that looks like this. Or something that looks like that. Or something that goes like this, for example. Now, every one of those has various number of roots. This one has 1, 2, 3 roots. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4 roots. This one has 1, 2, 3 roots. So the roots are, yes, but this is what you started discussing from madrasa. This is the part that says, and not this one. Explain the relationship between the number of roots of an equation and its graph. Identify the graphical definition of a solution of a quadratic equation. So, yes. So again, those are called again roots and so on, and they're also the solutions. So in the graph that we did earlier, the one that was in your homework, when we do the mode 5-3, we're basically getting the x-intercepts, or we're getting the solutions, or we're getting the roots and so on. So if you're ever asked to find the solutions of a quadratic function, the mode 5-3 will get you there. Okay? Type. Is there any other way to do the x-intercepts without the calculator? Yes, there are actually 2 other methods. One that is mental math, and the other one is basically using a formula. Okay? The formula is long. I'm sorry? Yes. So how? We think of two numbers multiplied by each other that would give me 8. And the same two numbers added to each other would give me the 6. Added or subtracted would give me 6. So think of two numbers added and multiplied by each other would give me 8. 2 and 4, for example. No. Multiplied first by each other would be 8. Multiplied by each other would be 8. Multiplied by each other would be 8.
8 انت عايز 2 times 4.
Is 2 plus 4 or 4 minus 2 equals to 6?
4 plus 2 is equal to 6.
So the 2 and 4 works. So that's how we figure out the number. We think of two numbers multiplied by each other would give me this number here. And then we check if these two would be added or subtracted if they're going to give me that number here. If that works, then we'll open up two brackets. We'll put x here and x there. We'll put the two numbers, 2 here and 4 there. And then we'll wait to check how to put the signs. Concentrate out. The bigger number out of these two always gets the middle sign. The first sign. And then if this sign is positive, then these two brackets have the same signs. So this also has to be negative. Type, let me give you another example. X squared plus 8x minus 20 equals to 0. I need two numbers multiplied by each other would give me 20, and added or subtracted would give me 8.
5 times 4.
Plus بعد would be 9, minus بعد would be 1. So it doesn't work.
2 times 10.
2 times 10 plus بعد ب 12, minus بعد ب 8. So yes, it works. So it works. So I'll put the x, 2 and 10, and I'll check. The middle number, this one, goes for the bigger number always, positive. Then because this is negative, these are different signs. So this has to be negative. طيب, what are the exact x values? It's x equals بعكس الساين positive 2 and x equals بعكس الساين negative 10. هنا x equals positive 2 وهنا x equals positive 4. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So this is what we say إن هي mental. This is actually called factorization.
Yeah, اللي انت بتقعد اللي عارف نسيت اخدت الفاكتورينج 3 دي اللي بتقعد تقسم.
طيب في another third method اللي هي called quadratic formula. This is a formula, a rule that we follow and we get the two answers right away. And we're still going to use the same example عشان نتأكد إنه يطلع الأنسر الصح زي ما احنا عارفين to. So the formula is as follows. It is negative b plus or minus square root b power 2 minus 4ac, and all of this is divided by 2a. These are the x values. يعني ايه برضو؟ يعني مرة بعمل القصة دي كلها بلس ومرة تانية بعملها انها ماينس، عشان كده بتطلع لي 2x values عشان ما تطلعليش واحدة x value. فأول حاجة بعملها ان انا بطلع ال a وال b وال c كالعادة. وسبستيتيوت الكلام ده في الرول. نيجاتيف b يبقى نيجاتيف 6 plus or minus square root b which is negative 6 power 2 minus 4 bracket 1 bracket 8, and all of this is divided by 2 times 1. هكتبها على الكالكوليتر مرة positive ومرة negative. So negative 6 يعني positive 6 plus وافتح روت، دي هحسبها على الكالكوليتر لوحدها تطلع ب 4 اللي تحت الروت بس over 2 أو 6 minus root 4 over 2. هحسب دي again وهحسب دي عشان اطلع both x values. تبقى x equals 6 plus root 4 يعني 6 plus 2 over 2 يعني 8 over 2 يعني 4. ادي اول واحده. هنا تطلع x equals 6 minus root 4 اللي هي 2 over 2 يعني 4 over 2 يعني 2. وادي تاني واحده. So the same exact x values that we got them by factorization and we got them by the mode 5.3 earlier. 2 وال 4 اهو. Does that make sense? Right. How do we know if sometimes ممكن الفانكشن او الايكويشن تطلع لها only one root او one x intercept زي اللي احنا قلناها هنا، وامتى يطلع لها no real roots؟ يعني ازاي اعرف بس النمبر اوف روتس بتاعت الفانكشن؟ سو لو عايز اعرف النمبر اوف روتس في طريقه اسمها discriminant. برضو it's a formula. الفورمولا دي لو عرفتها او لو استخدمتها تعرف بيها it's like a thermometer كده. بنعرف بس هم 2 ولا 1 ولا 0، بس ما بنعرفش هم كام، يعني ما بنعرفش هم ايه الفاليوز بتاعتهم، بس بنعرف هم 2 ولا 1 ولا لا. لو عايز اعرف الفاليوز بتاعتهم لازم اعمل الكوادراتيك فورمولا او فاكتورايزيشن او مود 5.3. Does that make sense؟
Yes.
طيب ادي اخر حاجه. ايه بقى الديسكريمننت؟ الرول بتاعتها b باور 2 minus 4ac. فمثلا برضو الاكس سكويرد ماينس 6x plus 8 اللي احنا كنا واخدينها اهو، لو جينا حسبنا b باور 2 يعني نيجاتيف 6 minus 4a which is 1 و c which is 8. بتشوف بقى لو الانسر طلعت بوزيتيف يبقى معناها ان في 2 روتس، ولو الانسر طلعت 0 يبقى معناها ان في 1 روت، ولو الانسر طلعت اي رقم نيجاتيف يبقى معناها ان في نو روتس خالص. فلو جيت حسبت دي نيجاتيف 6 باور 2 تطلع لي 36 ماينس 32 تطلع لي 4. هي ال 4 دي بوزيتيف ولا لا؟ 4 بوزيتيف. ما دام 4 بوزيتيف يبقى معناها ان في 2 روتس للايكويشن دي، وفعلا حقيقي 2 روتس احنا حسبناهم وكانوا 2 روتس هنا هم ال 4 وال 2 صح؟ في another example مثلا لو انا اديتك واحد زي ده x squared minus 10x plus 25 مثلا، لما نيجي نحسب b باور 2 minus 4ac هتطلع لي الانسر 0. ما دام هي 0 معناها ايه؟ معناها ان في 1 روت، ولو جيت رسمتها هتلاقيها فعلا قطع الاكس اكسس عند 5 والجراف عامل كده. Does that make sense يا جماعه؟
Yes.
Yes.
طب خلاص كفايه عشان انتوا فصلتوا مني.
I can't watch like.
Hello.